Yup. So, as the title of this video states, I'm going to be predicting my Eastern and Western Conference standings for the upcoming NBA season that actually begins tomorrow. I've never done a video like this before. I do this every season just and keep it to myself on my phone, and I like to look back at it and see if any of my predictions were close or correct. So, today's video, obviously, you're going to put it on YouTube, and you guys can comment below what your predictions are, what your thoughts on mine are, and when the season finishes at the end of the year, or at the end of the NBA season, I'll probably do a reaction video to this video and just look back and probably laugh at how wrong I am. So let's get into it. Alright, so today I'm going to be using the Enjoy Basketball NBA standing predictions. I saw someone else on YouTube use this. It was Kenny Beecham. He's got a few different channels. Kenny For Real, Kenny 2, I think, and then King of the Fourth Quarter. He's also a podcast host for House of Highlights Through the Wire, it is called. Big fan of his work. Anyway, so this is going to be quite hard because, as you know, the NBA, there's a lot of injuries each year, and this season in particular, there's a lot of stars that were injured last year that are coming back this year, and it could really go either way. It's going to go out there, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but I mean, I've got to start somewhere. All right, first up, going to be doing the Western Conference. I might start at the bottom. I'll start at the bottom for now. It's in like sort of 3 tiers, as you can see on the screen. So the first 6 teams are obviously playoff lock teams. The 7 through 10 seed is the play-in tournament. And then below that, obviously, just tanking for Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson. Anyway, let's start at the bottom. San Antonio Spurs, great coach, but their team is no good. I don't know how to move this down. Dang, this is gonna take a while if I have to do it like this. I thought I could just like grab it and put it in position. So I might have to start at the top, but I'm gonna have San Antonio at the bottom. That might change when we get back there. It's between San Antonio or the Utah Jazz. Utah lost Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Got a lot of sort of draft picks in return and sort of fringe players, but I mean, Colin Sexton starting as your point guard for Utah. It's not the best point guard to be a franchise player, I suppose. All right, we'll start at the top. For me, by the way, I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. No, I'm not a bandwagoner. I got on it when I started first watching NBA. Actually, I'll tell you the story. So when I first started watching the NBA, I had a friend that was a Boston Celtics fan, and he convinced me to jump on the Miami Heat bandwagon because it was the first year of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. And I was like, oh, okay. And then throughout that season, I was a Heat fan, just a bandwagon Heat fan. Watched the whole year. I had League Pass, so I was watching every game that I could, and just fell in love with Steph Curry's game. He became my favourite player in the NBA. And the following season, I jumped over to the Warriors because I actually had a little bit of basketball knowledge and just wanted to follow a player that I really enjoyed watching. So I got onto the Warriors. I've got Facebook photos of me wearing a Steph Curry jersey. It's like 2011, so don't come at me. I'm not a bandwagoner. I was with them before they got good. All right, top of the West. I'm going to go to the LA Clippers. I think the Clippers, when healthy, have the deepest roster in the NBA. I think they can definitely, if they can stay healthy, and this is predicting the season with no injuries in mind. Like, this is just, if everyone's healthy, this is where I'm going. If the Clippers can stay healthy, I think they can finish at the top of the West. They're probably my championship favourites as well at the moment. So I'm going to say LA Clippers. They got John Wall. Obviously hasn't played in like 2 years, but watching the preseason, he's still got it. He's keen to play. He just wants to get out there and hoop. Kawhi coming back. Paul George played last season, but you got Kawhi come back, Paul George, John Wall, and just their depth in general. Like, they've got a lot of players, especially coming off the bench as well. Like, they have everything there. And if they can stay healthy, they're definitely going to be at least a top 4 seed in the West, but I'm going to have them on top. Second seed for me, I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets. Denver are a really good regular season team. They've got the home court advantage. Playing in Denver, Mile High City, A lot of people talk about it. They say they don't like playing there because the altitude is so hard to deal with. So they're going to win their home games, majority of them anyway. And I mean, you saw last season with Jokic, obviously back-to-back MVP. But last season, Jokic's team, or the Denver Nuggets, Jokic pretty much carried them all because they lost Michael Porter Jr. early to a back injury, and Jamal Murray's been out since the bubble. But they're getting both those players back. Both of them look solid in preseason. I think Jokic, he's probably still going to have the same numbers that he had last year and the year before, but with those shooters around him, he doesn't have to do everything. And I think Porter Jr. is probably going to have a breakout season. He started last season pretty well, but obviously then he hurt his back, had a bit of surgery, but he's coming back this season, and I think he can sort of just jump straight back into that rotation and be probably their second star, because Jamal Murray, I mean, good player, but I feel like Michael Porter Jr. is going to leap over him. So that's my 1 and 2 seed. I'm going to follow it up with the reigning champs, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I don't really have to say too much about them. You got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and just signed Jordan Poole to an extension, as well as Andrew Wiggins. Like, talk shit as much as you want about Andrew Wiggins, but the boy came to play last season, stepped it up in the finals. To me, finals MVP, obviously it was Steph Curry, but a close second was Andrew Wiggins and Kevon Looney, which was surprisingly good to see because depth could have been an issue. But this season you got Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga in their second year. They showed a bit of flashes last year, especially in the finals as well. You got James Wiseman coming in this season as season 2 after not playing last year. So I think they can really give it a shot at back-to-back champs this year. But we'll sit them at 3. And this is where it sort of gets hard because I'm looking at the teams here. Dang. Dallas Mavericks I think they made some good off-season moves. They obviously lost Jalen Brunson, but they picked up Christian Wood, and word on the street is that they want to have him coming off the bench. They also got JaVale McGee, who underrated center. When he played for the Golden State Warriors, they really turned him around from a Shaq in the Fool superstar to a legit center in the NBA that could help any team that he's on. I think Dallas could finish anywhere between 4 and 8, to be honest. I think all of these teams that are coming up could finish like that. That's kind of why I wanted to start at the bottom. 4th seed. I'm going to go with Phoenix. They've had a rocky off-season. They obviously got rolled in Game 7 against the Mavericks last year before the West Conference Finals. So it was the West semi-finals, I guess. They had them covered, and then they blew it, and they got absolutely destroyed in that Game 7. Took a massive hit, and then obviously DeAndre Ayton wanting to leave, go to Indiana Pacers, and then Phoenix all of a sudden matched his offer sheet, and the coach isn't talking to certain players, and obviously the owner, all the racial stuff going on with him, he's going to have to sell the team. Jay Crowder wants out, but I'm going to say that they can string a few wins together, finish as a 4th seed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish as a play-in team. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but 7 or 8, they could finish as low as that. All right, so Phoenix 4. Okay, the West is stacked. Next up, I am going to go with... I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go Dallas Mavericks. I think they can run it back. Not going to say too much about them. I already spoke about them. They had good off-season moves. And Luka Doncic, I mean, the boy's a superstar. He's a superstar. He can carry your team past anyone. So I'm going to have them at 5. 6 as the other playoff lock. It's between Memphis, Minnesota, and New Orleans because obviously the Pelicans last year were expected not to really do much, and then they made the playoffs and they gave Phoenix a good run for their money in the first round. They traded for CJ McCollum late last year. They're going to have a healthy Zion Williamson back, so hopefully he can come back and average the same as what he did or better than he did the last time he played, which was like 27 points per game in his sophomore year, which is pretty wild. Minnesota obviously traded for Rudy Gobert. They gave up a lot of picks, a couple of fringe players, but they're really sort of trying to pick up on their defense this year. And what did they finish last year? I think it was like the 6th seed last year, and they did all right. They didn't really look that good against Memphis in the first round, but Memphis 2nd seed last year. I just don't see it happening for them. I think last year they overachieved last year. I don't think they're going to do the same this year. If I put them 6th, then they've still dropped a fair bit. I'm going to go Memphis at 6 just because of last year's play and being 2nd seed. I think Ja Morant's going to take another step and he's going to be good enough, but I'm not comfortable with that. Obviously, we'll look back at this in 6 to 8 months' time and figure out what the deal is. And to round off the 7 and 8 seed, I'm going to go with Minnesota and the Pelicans. Now, obviously, the 7 and 8 seed, 9 seed and 10 seed are in the play-in tournament, so either one of those 4 can make the playoffs. So I'm going to round that play-in sort of spots off with the Lakers at 9. And controversial pick, I'm going to go the Sacramento Kings at the 10 seed. I'm actually big on the Kings this year. I think they've made the right moves. They got Sabonis last year. They traded away Halliburton, which I wasn't a huge fan of. As in, I wasn't a fan of the trade because I think Halliburton is a great player, and they kind of it seemed like they were going all in on him, and then they got rid of him. So they've chosen to ride with De'Aaron Fox, which is fine. I think De'Aaron Fox is an all-star caliber player. Might even make his first all-star appearance this year, but I think with the added role players like Malik Monk, and then you got Sabonis there as well, having a full season. Who else did they get? I can't really remember who else they got. I know they picked up a few players, but nothing super special. But I think it's enough to get them in that play-in spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if they knocked off one of the 7 or 8 seeds to make it into the playoffs. I mean, it would be an overachieving season for them. They're kind of on the brink of do we tank for Victor Wembanyama, or do we just commit to try and actually win? And I think the Sacramento Kings fans having a massive playoff drought, they'd probably be happy with them actually just making the playoffs. They'd be happy to be there. And as for the Lakers, I mean, LeBron, AD, Westbrook, on paper they should be championship favourites, but we saw last year it didn't really work. And watching their preseason as well, the other day they played against the Sacramento Kings. They pretty much had their full team out there, LeBron, AD, Westbrook, and they got smashed by 50 points. It was not a good look for them. I saw a lot of Laker fans on Twitter and everything like that just saying they're not even going to watch Laker games this year because they're putting out that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's just preseason, but I mean, come on, we'll see. And to round off the final 4, 5 seeds of the West, all these teams should probably be tanking for Vic or Scoot. But I think Portland at 11, I think they're going to be competitive enough because Damian Lillard, he really doesn't want to lose. He wants to bring a championship to Portland. It's not going to happen, but I feel sorry for him. They got Jeremy Grant. They didn't really do a whole lot else. It's not enough for me, but I think they'll win enough games to teeter along with the play-in teams, and they might even make a play-in team over Sacramento or even the Lakers. All right, 12, I'm going to go with Houston. Good young core. They got Jalen Green out there, Alperen Sengun. Who else they get? Jabari Smith. Kevin Porter Jr., he looked good last year in a few games. They drafted Ty Washington. Tari Eason looked pretty good. I mean, they got Boban. Big Bobby. Obviously, he's not going to be doing too much for him. He probably won't even get minutes, but he should. I mean, Sengun's going to be their starting centre, and the backup has to be Bobby, surely. You're not going to... Willie Cauley-Stein, not really NBA caliber anymore. Next, I'm going to go with Oklahoma City. Not much a whole lot to say with Oklahoma. I mean, they got Shea, but last year they were sitting him a lot of games. He had he had injuries here and there, but they did sit him. They wanted to tank. They got Chet. Chet's injured now. So, I mean, why not commit to the tank and just go for Vic or Scoot? It's another year at the bottom for OKC. Another year of developing. But they'll be good. They've got a lot of draft picks. They've got a lot of good players coming up. They develop well. They'll be up there in the next few years. By up there, I mean playing teeter in the playoffs. And I will go Utah at 14. I think I'm happy with that. Utah obviously traded away Donovan Mitchell, traded away Rudy Gobert, Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton. They look horrible. So I'm going to leave it at that for the West and head over to the East. Alright, so as for the East, I'm going to start off by saying that Philadelphia, number 1 seed. You got Joel Embiid, James Harden. Tyrese Maxey has looked unbelievable in preseason, so hopefully he can carry that around there into the regular season. I think Philly are a very good regular season team. They obviously lost Ben Simmons, but James Harden's there. Ben Simmons didn't play last year anyway. And Philly were very competitive and one of the top contenders. I'm not going to talk too much about Philly. They also got PJ Tucker from the Miami Heat, which is massive because Joel Embiid, after they lost to Miami, came out and said, we don't have a guy like PJ Tucker out there. We don't have one of those dogs. And then they went and got PJ Tucker. So they got who they wanted. Second seed for the East. The East is stacked now too. There's a lot of superstars in the East. There's a lot of big trades. I mean, Boston coming off a NBA Finals appearance. But Ime Udoka, their coach, obviously isn't going to be coaching this season. But they did trade for Malcolm Brogdon, who's a pretty good addition to their team. What else am I looking at? Oh, Milwaukee. Let's go to the Bucks. Bucks is the second seed. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not going to say anything more about the Bucks. I mean, last year, if Chris Middleton wasn't injured, they would have beaten the Boston Celtics. They took them to Game 7 without Middleton. I think Milwaukee would have probably won the championship last year if Middleton was healthy, or at least Warriors would have taken Bucks to like Game 7 and then maybe beat them. But Giannis, you can't really overlook him. Next up, the 3 seed. I'm going to go with Brooklyn. They've had a rocky off-season as well. Obviously, Kyrie requested a trade. KD requested a trade. Ben Simmons posted on Instagram saying, like, the day that those guys requested a trade, Simmons posted a picture on Instagram saying, like, he was working hard and he's ready for the grind and stuff. And it's kind of odd, but nothing happened from it. Kyrie retracted his trade request. KD ultimately retracted his. And I think they're going to come into the season hungry. I think they made a few good off-season moves. They got Royce O'Neal. You got Ben Simmons there playing a full season now. He looked all right in preseason. He's obviously going to take a little bit of time to get back out there, but he doesn't need to shoot in Brooklyn. He's surrounded by shooters. You got Seth Curry out there. You got Joe Harris, KD, Kyrie. I mean, Simmons, he'll probably play the 5. He'll play center for them most of the time, and then when Kyrie's on the bench, he'll play point guard. Yeah, I think they could probably win the whole thing this year, but it could go either way because you just don't know with that team. There's a lot of drama that follows Kyrie Irving. There's a lot of drama that follows KD and Ben Simmons. There's a lot going on. 4th seed, I'll say Boston. I'm not sold on Boston only because of the head coach stuff. I think that's going to rock the team a little bit. Jason Tatum's obviously a superstar. Jaylen Brown is a superstar in the making. I think Jaylen Brown was probably better than Tatum in the finals last year. It might be a hot take, but I mean, I watched every game and that's just what I believe. I think he was more consistent. Yeah, add Brogdon to that team. They needed a true point guard. You got Marcus Smart, reigning defensive player of the year. Not sure he should have won it, but if you're going to give it to a guard, it should have been probably Drew Holiday from the Bucks. But anyway, we'll say Boston at 4. Next up, this is where it gets hard because Miami are always good. Like, they're always in the realm. They want to win. They're always competitive. They lost PJ Tucker, but they've still got Jimmy. They've got Bam. Victor Oladipo's coming back, more healthy this year. I'm going to go Cleveland. I think the addition of Donovan Mitchell with Darius Garland, I think that could be good. You got Evan Mobley in his second year. He's going to be a superstar. They've got Evan Mobley's brother as well. Not sure about him. Saw a little bit of preseason. It wasn't too great, but I think Cleveland could be a dark horse. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish sort of as high as the 3 seed. I'll get through this a little bit quicker so I'm not just boring everyone. Next up, I think Miami are going to drop a little bit. I think they're going to drop. So I'm going to go Atlanta. Trae Young, they traded for DeJounte Murray. They've looked good. They've looked good in the preseason. I think they can play well together. DeJounte obviously brings a lot of defense and scoring. Like, he was almost a walking triple-double at the Spurs. He's a good player. I think if they can mesh well together, they'll be a good team in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll get past the first or second round, but they'll be alright. Next up, I'm going to go with Miami at the 7 seed, play-in. Already spoke about them, so I'm not going to go into too much more. And at the 8 seed, I think we will go with Toronto. Always competitive, great head coach, great team. You've got Scotty Barnes coming off Rookie of the Year. You got OG, Pascal Siakam. You got Bo Cruz now. Which is Hernan Gomez. I don't know if anyone watched the movie called Hustle by Adam Sandler, but he's probably not going to get a lot of PT, but he's on the team. He's on the roster. We'll go Toronto at the 8 seed and round off the 9 and 10 seed. Chicago, they had a good year last year. I think they overachieved, but when Lonzo plays and they've got a healthy team, they're really good. They were the 1 seed last year for a long time. Then Lonzo and Caruso went down, and their defense went down with them. Lonzo, there's rumors that Lonzo might not even play the whole season, which is pretty wild stuff coming off his injury because it wasn't meant to be that bad. They didn't really do a whole lot. They got Andre Drummond, which they needed a center. They got Andre Drummond. It's not. I mean, he's going to get a few rebounds. He's going to get a few blocks. But DeMar DeRozan played out of his mind last year. He was in the MVP conversation a lot of the year as well. I don't think he can back it up. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's going to have one of those years again. And the 10 seed, I'll say the Knicks. They got Jalen Brunson to run with RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Julius Randle. They're not a great team. They're not a great team, and that's why they're the 10 seed. And these other guys, I think, for the 11 seed, I'll give it to, it's a toss-up between Detroit and Washington because Bradley Beal, Porzingis. I think Beal wants to win. I'm gonna go Washington there at the 11 because I think Bradley Beal can win you games just purely off his own back. Detroit at the 12. I think Cade Cunningham, they've drafted very well. They've got Jaden Ivey out there, Jalen Duran, whatever his name is. I think they'll be competitive enough to win some games and still be in the running to win the lottery and get Vic or Scoot. It hurts me to say... No, it doesn't. Say Orlando at the 13. You got the number 1 draft pick, Paolo Banchero. He looked good in preseason. As for the rest of their team, nothing too special. I think they need to draft well in this upcoming draft. They're probably hoping they'll get Vic or Scoot. But so is 10 other teams on this list. Next up, I will go with both these teams are not going to be very good. I'll go with Charlotte purely because LaMelo Ball. I think he can win a few games for you. But Miles Bridges, obviously with the domestic violence charges and stuff, there's rumours he's going to come back and play for the team, but he cost himself a big bag in free agency. That's going to hurt them. They didn't really do much in the trade period. They didn't really do much in the drafting either. They got rid of a few of their draft picks. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling it with Charlotte. They really need to go after a center. They always have rumours with Miles Turner. Didn't happen. Nothing happened. And speaking of Miles Turner, I'll go the Indiana Pacers at the 15 seed. I just don't think they're a good team. Simple as that. They got Tyrese Halliburton, but Tyrese, Buddy Hield, and Miles. You know what? I'm going to put them above Charlotte. I think Charlotte are going to stink. That's my cat, if you can hear that. He's meowing to birds and stuff. Looking at it, Philly, Bucks, Brooklyn, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta. The East is hard to predict. There's a lot of teams that could be in the run. I think the top 2 seeds are a lock, and then pretty much from the 3 seed all the way down to the 9 seed could shuffle wildly. But that's my predictions for the East and the West. We'll come back to this video when the season's commenced, and we'll see how we went. Alright, so I'm also going to be putting my predictions down for the NBA Players Awards throughout the season. I've just got my phone here to look at the awards and the stats. So, Defensive Player of the Year, we'll start there. Rudy Gobert's favourite. I don't think Rudy's going to win it. I think Anthony Edwards on his team is going to step up defense. I think Cat's going to step up in defense. The only way Rudy wins it is if the Timberwolves finish sort of top 2 seed, top 4 seed, and they're like top 5 defense in the league, and they go, oh, the Rudy Gobert trade did it all. But I can't see that happening. Draymond Green was the favourite last year until he sat for a few games. I'm going to say, or do they give it to a guard again? It could be the year of the guard, and they could go Drew Holiday or even Mikal Bridges. But I'm going to say I'm going to go Draymond Green for Defensive Player of the Year. I think after punching Jordan Poole the other day, he's going to want to show his worth to the team a bit more than usual, and I think he could win the Defensive Player of the Year. My prediction for the Most Improved Player of the Year, I might go with Tyrese Maxey. He looked really good in preseason. He was coming out hot, like out of the gates hot. He was scoring 20 points in 15 minutes. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that with Embiid and Harden on the floor at the same time, but he looks pretty dynamic out there, and that's just my prediction. I think he can do it. I think if he can go out there, average in between 20 25 points a game, they're going to be like, hey, yo, Tyrese, he's definitely got that. Sixth Man of the Year. Last year, I bet on Jordan Poole to win Sixth Man of the Year. Obviously, it went to Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat. I'm going to go Jordan Poole again. He just got a 4-year extension from the Warriors. You got a healthy Klay Thompson back. You got a healthy Steph Curry. Jordan's not going to be in the starting lineup pretty much the whole year, barring any injuries. So I think he could be that X factor off the bench. He can average 15 to 25 points a game, and he can really help the Warriors get over the line in a few games and get back to the NBA Finals. Rookie of the Year this year. I've been looking at a few of the rooks out there. You got obviously Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith. Benedict Matherin's been looking real good. But you got Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray. I think it's between Jaden Ivey and Keegan Murray for me. I think if the Kings can finish if the Kings can make the playoffs, like as a play-in team and scrape into the playoffs, I think Keegan Murray will be a big reason as to why they do that. And he could pull it off. As for Jaden Ivey with Detroit, being with Detroit, like he's going to be the guy. Like obviously you got Cade Cunningham there as well, but Jaden's going to be the second guy. Ooh. I don't know. I feel like it's Ivy or Murray. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Keegan Murray, Rookie of the Year this year. And the NBA MVP for this season. I love Luka Doncic. I think he's a worthy favourite. And it could definitely be his year, but I'm going to go with Kevin Durant. I think after the Brooklyn Nets rocky offseason, him requesting the trade, retracting the trade, I think he's going to want to come out here and prove his worth, and he's going to be like, yo, he is him. KD is him. He's going to come out, he's going to be the number one player in the world again, and he's just going to will them to a top seed in the East. That's my prediction. KD, MVP. I don't know if I want to predict champions. I think I already did speak about that. All right, I'll give my predictions for the NBA Finals matchups. If healthy. Oh, damn. I think Clippers are my favourite to win it all. I think the LA Clippers could win it all. And if it's not the Clippers, I think it's the Warriors again, or maybe Philly. The Warriors, Philly, or the Clippers. They're my three, but I'm going to say the Clippers. So, Clippers, but hopefully the Warriors. And that's the end of my NBA season predictions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You can like, subscribe, do whatever you want. I know this isn't the typical video I usually put out. I usually do grass or whatnot, but I'm going to use this YouTube channel to sort of be myself and just showcase my own personality, showcase my work, but also I want to do more videos like this. I love the NBA, I love basketball, and I always watch those NBA YouTubers and gamers and everything like that. So I want to get involved in it. I want to share my thoughts, share my predictions, and I want you guys to comment below what your predictions are, what your thoughts are. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and thanks for watching. Peace.